thank you very much for. I know you're very busy with talking to drivers and talking about getting sponsorship for people and whatnot. So really appreciate you taking a little bit of time out to do one of these live. So we've done the Abarth already. That was like very, very early on when I was just trying to kind of get my feet with what I'm actually doing. And now we're at 268
That's incredible.
drawings in 5 weeks. Yeah, 5 weeks today. No, 6 weeks today, is it? So Taz is nodding at me going, I'm going 5, 6, and Taz is just going, yeah, I don't know which one. So I thought we will do your Porsche, the Porsche that you went and raced, or so you can talk a bit more about that and how you get involved with the drivers. Motorsport happen, but also you have published a book, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
And
I'm still like, every time I pick it up, I'm still a bit kind of baffled that it's got my name on it, and I published a book, and I'm sure you're going to feel much the same way very soon.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that's the aim. So I thought we'd do this one, but I thought I'd do the. So this is one of the Porsche outside, like a barn or something, like a.
Yeah.
But I thought I'd add your racing mentor logo behind it. One, because it makes my eyes go a bit squiffy every time I look at it.
Everyone says that. Oh, I've got a cushion behind me. It's worse when it's reversed.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're looking at. I need to wear my 3D glasses to look at it a little bit.
Yep.
But no, it's cool. It's cool. So what we'll do, we'll talk. Yeah, basically, you've seen what I'm doing. You've probably seen a few of these now. So I'll start drawing, but then you can talk about your business, how you go about, how you got into it, like how you kind of like forged this kind of role in the motorsports industry of educating, talking to young drivers, and encouraging them with their sponsorship needs. And yeah, that'd be cool. So I'm gonna crack on and attempt to not get funny eyes by looking at your logo too much. And then I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna do the Porsche first, and then go back up and do the logo. I think I'm gonna do that.
Well, it's quite nice in terms of what I was going to talk about, that you start with the Porsche, because that's actually where, in a way, Racing Mentor started. Okay. Because I was getting more and more involved in motorsport, doing PR and social media and a little bit of management and things for drivers. And I started running this race team, which was Turn 8 Racing, which is we ran this pink and blue Porsche 924 in the Porsche Championship, which is on the BRSCC. And we had Pip Hammond and Gavin Johnson driving, and had just a slew of incredible results. And I feel very kind of passionate about the car still. So although I haven't worked, with Pip and Gavin and Turn 8 Racing for a number of years now, but I still feel very passionate about that car. And they've gone on to do other things with PDC Racing, and they're really succeeding there. But that Porsche, we nicknamed it Diego, and Diego has since been sold, and is no longer pink and blue, sadly. But when I was doing that, when I was running Turn 8 Racing, I realised that there were so many drivers out there who didn't understand kind of the basics of sponsorship. And I was kind of coming from a marketing and sales background. I was bringing in sponsors for our team so we could go racing and win things. And I thought it was easy, and I thought everyone knew this, and that it was just one of those parts of motorsport that everyone kind of, that they had to understand, otherwise they wouldn't be able to go racing, which is sadly true. But actually, no one really knew about this stuff, and when people were coming up to us asking how we managed to get so much sponsorship, I realised that there was a desperate need for these drivers to have some guidance on this kind of stuff, because obviously there's driver coaches, there's mindset coaches, there's people that do media training, but there was no one really teaching the basics of building a brand and sponsorship. So I gave out tons of free advice in the early days, but I realized that there was a need for something a bit more formal. But I was getting so frustrated with drivers coming to me, and I could see that they were talented from their results, but they had to stop racing because they couldn't raise the funds. And that's heartbreaking to me because, you know, racing should be about talent. And sadly, a lot of the time it comes down to money. So that's kind of where Racing Mentor came from. And I left Turn 8 Racing and they turned into PDC Racing. And I set up Racing Mentor. So yeah, it was quite a journey, but it did all start with that lovely Porsche.
So it's 924, is that right?
Yeah, it's a 924. I think 1979, so it was one of the earliest ones on the grid. The rest were from kind of like early mid 80s.
Nice, it's nice. So you finished not finished. Turn 8 with the car, and so how did you start with Racing Mentor? Like what was the process like? Were you like, right, this is the need, and I'm going to write down the need and then go from there, or did you start kind of picking up drivers and going, right, you're good at it, but you're terrible at your media training, or you're not very good at getting sponsors? What was the kind of the process behind that?
So I kind of leapt into it just as a passion project that ran nicely alongside the journalism and like motorsport journalism and automotive stuff that I was doing. And I mostly created it as kind of a content hub. So just kind of teaching via articles and things on the Racing Mentor blog, and then like the odd YouTube video or podcast. But I soon realised that, you know, people were then coming to me for more formal coaching, kind of one-on-one and in groups. So I kind of had to sit down and go, right, there is a need for this, and it goes beyond just some articles. I need to show racing drivers how to do it and kind of coach them through the process. I don't want to do it for them, and that's what people were asking me that a lot. I don't want to do it for them because it's that whole thing of, you know, you can teach a man to fish and he'll be able to feed himself and all that kind of thing. So I wanted to teach these skills to drivers. And even drivers that thought, you know, they're never going to be good at sales, or they're not, you know, extrovert enough to be good on camera. I've kind of coached them so that they're more comfortable doing these things that they didn't ever think would be part of life as a driver. They thought they would just be able to, you know, race and enjoy it, and people would give them money for being fast. And again, anyone who's in motorsport will know that's sadly not the case.
Yeah. So
it started off casual, but yeah, I had to kind of formalize it, and that's when, you know, the templates and the courses and all of like the slightly more premium products came in alongside all of the free advice that I give out.
So and you're really active on socials as well, aren't you? So you really kind of on Twitter particularly, you're on there talking about stuff. So I mean, the growth of that in terms of how people interact with people now, has that really kind of pushed the brand? Does that, you know, how people how they race and using socials, is that the key thing to what's been like the key thing to making Racing Mentor work?
I'd say it's the community. So we have a Facebook group called the Sponsorship Community, and I think having that and, you know, creating brand champions in there by, you know, giving them access to me whenever they kind of need it has, you know, it's been a good way to kind of grow the brand. But I think just visibility. Oh my God, that looks so cool.
I didn't mess it up. I did the car. I was right to do the car first, and then that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my God, yeah, so cool.
That's all right. That's all right.
Nice.
So yeah, that's what, 5 minutes or so. So talk me. So you're like, right, there's a need for this. How did you then go? Right, I'm going to make it happen.
So the biggest thing I did was I spoke to people. I sat down with drivers, so people that I was already friendly with, and people that were kind of starting to pop up in the group, and I asked them, what is your biggest struggle? Is it finding, you know, these potential sponsors? Is it just knowing what you offer? Is it having conversations about money? And all of these questions started to kind of come up, and they're the questions that, you know, over the last 3.5 years have continued to come up. So that's kind of where I focused creating my content. Mm-hmm. I then, at the end of 2018, I launched a book called Get Paid to Race. And I think that's where things really began to change. and I was able to kind of stop treating it as a side hustle, passion project kind of thing, and turn it into something that was a much wider, much more seen brand within motorsport. Because we launched it at Motorsport Days Live with, you know, a big stand and lots of kind of, you know, people coming along, and we had the busiest stand of the whole show because it was their first year. And we had, you know, the busiest stand, and it was a real kind of validation that this is needed and people are thriving because of it. And ever since the book launched, I've had so many success stories of people who have picked up that book and they've gone from either not racing or not being able to race because they couldn't afford it to being able to get out on track in a car that's paid for by sponsorship. Or they're people that have been able to climb the ladder, you know, as high as kind of international GT level, actually, and beyond. And it's just so heartening to see, and it really makes me realise that, you know, I am fighting the good fight. And although there's not really a huge amount of money in it from my side, but I do it because I love it and because I love seeing drivers succeed. So the book kind of really turned things around, and then I created a course called 6 Weeks to Success off the back of that kind of the students kind of get access to me on video calls and sometimes in person as well, to kind of really cement the teachings in the book and help them apply it to their careers.
Oh, that's awesome. So over the past few weeks, I imagine that, you know, the kind of face-to-face stuff is probably not I imagine it isn't happening, but the kind of the video calls and, you know, things on Zoom and whatnot, is that where that's kind of brought into the equation?
Yeah, so most of 6 Weeks Success is always done online, but I've run one-off workshops and things. I think it was April last year, I was in Portugal doing a Get Paid to Race workshop with a couple of championships. But the majority of the coaching I do, because I live in Norfolk and no one wants to come all the way to Norfolk, it's actually better to do it online a lot of the time. So you're not kind of, especially as it runs over 6 weeks, you're not then beholden to, you know, people being able to get to me or me being able to drive out to somewhere. But I obviously do get to a lot of races, and I'm missing that at the moment, as I know so many people are. Yeah,
certainly. Yeah, I mean that kind of racing family. Yeah, normally I'll see you at touring car or any kind of events I'll see you at, and it's more. I mean, I think that's the thing about the motorsports kind of community. It's very much people who are in it and the kind of the peripheries of it, and the people you see at tracks and whatnot. So it is a weird time not to be seeing people, you know, whilst it's beautifully sunny outside and at weekends and whatnot as well. So yeah, no, it's so when you first set out to publish, was your intention to be a published author? Was that a kind of that came secondary to the delivering courses and getting drivers on track?
Yeah, when I first started Racing Mentor, I didn't think there was a book in it. I mean, I wanted to be a published author since I was probably about 3. But yeah, it certainly wasn't the goal. And I originally started writing the book with the view that it would be like just an ebook. Yeah. But then I thought, racing drivers, they're not, at least the ones I work with, they're not the kind of people that would, you know, refer back to an ebook on their phones. At least not many of them are. So I knew that it needed to be something physical, and I wanted it to be something that, you know, people could take with them to a meeting and just open it up and kind of read it and be like, right, this is what I need to do today. Yeah. And actually, there's so many drivers and parents of younger drivers who do keep the book in their glove box, and I love getting videos and photos of people who are like about to go into a meeting and they've got their Get Paid to Race copy. So yeah, it just kind of happened, and I think a lot of the brand has been like that. And while I've been, you know, I am a businesswoman, so I do have kind of structure and plans, but because of the way it kind of started, which was essentially a blog and a teaching resource, it just kind of exploded almost, and it's almost hard to keep up with it sometimes. but I'm making more of a concerted effort now. It's a good time to do businessy things, like to get more of a handle on my Instagram, which is one of the biggest platforms for me in terms of talking to drivers.
Yeah.
So, I've been doing more on social media just because, I love talking to people and I can't go to races and do it, so I may as well do it online.
Yeah. No, I mean, certainly I find the Instagram Live has been really, one, it's made really interesting, conversations for me whilst I'm drawing. But also I think it opens it up to a whole different audience, particularly when you're sharing, both sets of followers can see a conversation and they'll engage with it, and there's questions coming in and whatnot as well. So in terms of like kind of success stories, what's been your kind of like, I'm really proud to have been part of that. What particular drivers, or is there a story like this person didn't even know how to get sponsored, and now they're in a fully paid seat, or at least on the grid somewhere. What's been your kind of key moments, as were?
There's actually quite a few, and I've filmed most of them into testimonials on my YouTube channel. I've still got some to go, but one of the big ones, and I know that you spoke to him the other day, is Toby Trice.
Yep.
He was doing karting at Buckmore Park, and he had this dream of being a racing driver, but he didn't really know how to get there, or just like even if it was even possible for someone who was just like a normal guy. And he picked up a copy of Get Paid to Race, and then he signed up to the first edition of 6 Weeks to Success at Autosport in 2019. Yes, 2019. And we ran through the course, and in the 6 weeks that we were running, he got enough to pay for a Ginetta seat just in 6 weeks. And I think that is an insane thing to be able to do, to secure 5 figures in sponsorship, having never raced before.
Yeah.
Is a massive achievement. And then he's still even in lockdown, he's still securing partnerships and going out there and hustling. And I think his attitude and the confidence that the course has given him are the real winners. Because I think there's only so much that just simply kind of teaching skills can do. You've got to have the right mindset and the right attitude, and the fact that, so many drivers say to me that the biggest thing they get from 6 weeks to success is confidence makes me so happy. Another, in terms of figures, another great one was Pete Basil. He also did, I think, the first edition of 6 Weeks to Success, and he raised 6 figures in about 6 weeks. About 120,000, which got him a Ginetta Super Cup seat.
Wow.
Yeah, and he also did Brit Car that year as well. So yeah, just like huge figures, and there's other drivers that I've coached on a one-on-one basis that I'm actually not allowed to talk about because they're at very, very high level. But yeah, there's some big numbers coming out of it, and I'm so proud that I'm able to kind of have that effect on the industry and keep the real talent on the grid, rather than kind of languishing at home thinking what if.
Yeah, no, and Toby's a mate. Like literally, he was because he joined the live. He did the very first live conversation with me on Instagram. So and he was like, "Oh, can I join your live?" And I was like, what?" And then he was just brilliant to find out about his story. Like his story is incredible, and the fact that he is a train driver, like that's his job. Yeah. He drives trains.
Yeah, and fast trains as well. And I think that's so wonderfully relevant to he's one of the fastest train drivers, but also a fast car driver as well.
Yeah, and his attitude was just brilliant, and because he's been through some personal stuff.
Yeah.
But he kind of brings that with and says that this is me, and I'm the brand. Like this is, and he wants to talk about the stuff that has affected him personally with more people and bring them to the circuit as well. So I think as an example, he's a really, really great guy.
Yeah, and I also think what he's doing is so important as well. So like being so open and honest about male infertility and working with charities and talking about it on things like Instagram Live is so important for other people who are going through that. Yeah. Just so they can kind of feel seen and heard when they might be struggling.
Yeah, no, totally. I think he's a really really nice guy, and it was really great for and it's changed how I've done my work. So I need to say thank you to him, for kind of opening my eyes a little bit, because it's quite fun, not funny really, but a lot of people don't know that they can do this. So I was speaking to Amy Shaw yesterday actually, and she was like, "Oh, I did, this is really good." She's like, "I'm going to do this with my fans now," and I'm like,
"Yeah, cool."
I'm like, "Cool, cool." Like, if it helps build your brand during this time of lockdown, and you can engage with people, because people do want to talk to people and have conversations and engage with unique things in a weird time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've had more, really interesting and exciting conversations during this lockdown period than I think I would normally. Like, even if I was going to racetracks, because they've been daily, not just kind of limited to, every other weekend, where I'm also rushing around trying to do 101 things.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, but I mean, when at tracks, I'd never get to chat to race drivers for 45 minutes or whatever, and that's what's been really lovely. Both touring car drivers and GT drivers. We're all when the racing is on, we're all so busy doing our jobs, we don't actually get a chance to see each other or talk to each other properly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was saying, I can't remember where I was saying it, but one of my favourite things to do in motorsport is go to Snetterton, which is my local circuit, and just like during a midweek track day, is just sit, have a coffee, do some writing, watch the cars going around on track, and not have any kind of real agenda. Just go and be amongst race cars. And it's weird how little racing I get to see when I am actually at a racetrack.
Yeah, because I guess you've got meetings, you've got people to chat to. You need to catch up with people. So in terms of your plans during this period, what have you just been planning for the next bit of the season? What's been kind of the key over the last few weeks? What you've been working on?
So I'm in the process of putting together a Twitch course.
Okay.
With someone that's done a lot of kind of writing and media stuff for Racing Mentor, Adam Johnson, who's a good friend of mine and a former motorsport commentator. He does Twitch and he does quite well from it. And we realised that there were so many drivers out there who are trying to stream but not really getting it. So either their streams don't look great, there's technical issues, or they're just terrible on camera. So we're putting together this Twitch course that we're hoping will be out in the next 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how quickly we can get stuff filmed. So I've been planning that, as well as kind of planning a short ebook on LinkedIn, because I think LinkedIn is super valuable to racing drivers, but whenever I ask them about it, people are like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to use it. It confuses me, or I can't get engagement, stuff like that. So I'm going to create just a short ebook that kind of takes people through it, gives them exercises and activities that they can do to start building that engagement and creating relationships with people. And I've also been redeveloping 2 of my non-Racing Mentor sites as well. So I actually run a content agency for automotive brands.
Okay.
I used to run it many, many years ago when I first went freelance, but I've had to revive it recently because I've taken on a member of staff. And it kind of acts as the umbrella brand to Racing Mentor and others. So I've redeveloped that and redeveloped the site for my personal Jess Shanahan, the journalist and Racing Mentor brand as well.
So you've made the most of the kind of lockdown time to kind of catch up on paperwork and do things that you necessarily wouldn't have had time to do.
Yeah, I am very good at finding work for myself. So I've been super busy, and I think lockdown suits me. I like kind of being like head down, get on with the work. The fun can come later kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I am starting to go a little bit stir crazy. Only just though. It's only just started to happen where I've been thinking, I'm a bit bored. I want to go for a drive, but I don't even have my car at the moment, so I can't even do that.
Yeah, because you've got an Abarth, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Which we did earlier on. So the Abarth will feature in the book. This will feature in the book. So all of the art, the drawings that have been done will be in order in the book. So the emergency services and all the kind of the special ones that I've done over the time. But like I say, I mean, the thing is, for me, I just kind of, I went, right, I can't do my normal job, so I'm going to do something different.
Yeah.
and it turned into this. So it's, but I think, yeah, there'll be product, as well as the book, there'll be, prints, and I think the stuff will really suit going onto merchandise. I think it will look really good. So that's the kind of plan is to then have this, so you have PopBangColour draw paintings with the cars as one thing, and then this will be another sub brand of what PopBangColour is. Because there'll be so many drawings, you can then concentrate on particular ones that will make good t-shirts or mugs or whatever.
Nice. It's so. Well, the thing that I love about this kind of time is seeing, people like you who are innovating and taking their skills and doing something different, because you can't go and paint with cars at a racetrack because we're not allowed to racetrack. So I love seeing how people are kind of adapting and thriving in this strange situation.
Yeah. So what other examples have you seen? Have you seen anything else that you think, oh, that was interesting?
Well, not that anyone here would be interested in. I was writing an article yesterday about how retailers are adapting using real-time data, but this is the wrong. Well, it might not be the wrong audience for that, but
sounds interesting.
It was interesting. But and like just seeing how there are so many drivers who are jumping over to esports, like properly throwing themselves in the deep end. And Charlie Martin is one example of that. She's just gone into the Formula E esports series, and just like properly just got a brand new rig ready to test out with previously not having had one. And I love seeing people do that. I love that kind of, right, well, I have to put myself out there. I feel like this kind of situation, not just for kind of motorsport, but for businesses all over the world, it makes you kind of have to start thinking like that and think, well, what can I do? And looking back to previous recessions and times of conflict and crisis, that's where big disruptive businesses come out of. And I'm working on some content at the moment about it's going to be harsh truths that racing drivers need to hear, but no one's brave enough to say to them.
Right.
And one of them is, you may have heard this, a lot of racing drivers complain that the drivers with money are they either have rich parents, okay, fine, I can't do anything about that, or they are people who are sponsoring themselves through their own business.
Right.
And a lot of people complain about that. They're like, oh, he's just doing it through his business, or she's just sponsoring herself, that kind of thing. But it kind of makes me think, well, if drivers are seeing that that's a way to do it, why aren't they setting up their own businesses to fund their racing?
Yeah.
It's almost a no-brainer to me, but that might be because I'm of entrepreneurial spirit. But I think it's something that a lot of drivers should probably think quite seriously about, because for whatever reason, maybe you can't get sponsorship, or you struggled with it, or it's just not for you, because it is a bit of a slog. Maybe starting a business that can fund your racing is a more viable way to do things. That's a really valid point. I mean, sometimes it does. I think if there's a good competitive grid, then really where sometimes where that money comes from is I'd rather see a grid of 20, 30 cars rather than 18 cars. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd rather see a competitive, because we all want to see good racing on the weekends. That's what we pay to go and see. That's what we want to go and see. We want to see that, and it's just a way of making it work, essentially. So no, I think it's a really interesting point, and I think like maybe bring those points up and go, look, well, this is the fact of it. How do you make it? Not a fair. I don't want to say fair, but how do you make it happen for you in in whatever situation you're in?
Yeah, because the fact of the matter is that it's not, sponsorship isn't the only way to make money to go racing. There's so much stuff that people could do to incorporate their racing into the other stuff that they're good at. So like, even if a business isn't like paying to put a sticker on a car, which is what I know what a lot of people think of as sponsorship, even if they're not doing that and they're paying you to go and do, after dinner speeches or something like that, that money can still be used as racing money, even though it's not technically traditional sponsorship. And the same goes for any skill that you have. So I know a really good videographer, and he's just started to kind of think about, well, how do I offer my video services to sponsors as kind of like the main unique selling point of what he's doing. And then it's just, I'll do all this video work for you, but you also get a presence on a race car and you can come along to the track and network and stuff as well. So I think people need to start thinking about, what are they good at? What do they enjoy doing? And does anyone want to buy it? In addition to thinking about sponsorship as well.
No, that's really fascinating. So all of this is on your social. So what are your social links in terms of websites? Where can people find you?
So the website is racingmental.com. And from there you'll find the blog, but if you just want to head straight there, it's blog.racingmental.com, and that's where all of the resources are in terms of, the articles on what the hell should you be doing during COVID-19 to keep your sponsors happy, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But then like the more evergreen stuff of like how to write a pitch, how to research, and through the main website you'll also find the shop where you can buy the book, which is often where people start if they don't know the Racing Mentor brand. It's also on Amazon, although it might be soon out of stock and they're not letting me send anymore. So they're kind of the main places, but I'm also at Racing Mentor here on Instagram, but also on Twitter and on Facebook. Anyone is welcome to join our sponsorship community on Facebook as well. It's completely open, it's completely free, and will always be. And that's just the Racing Mentor sponsorship community, so it's easy enough to find. Where else am I? I just joined TikTok, but I haven't posted anything yet because it scares me a little bit.
I got tagged in it. There's a Morgan three-wheeler owner who was hooning about in his three-wheeler in a back garden, and the amount of people who tagged me in it going, "Oh, you do this?" I was like, "If I could, yeah." If I had a back garden big enough and the Morgan with me, yeah. I'd totally be doing that. But I don't quite. Yeah, one of these things. You kind of get comfortable with the platforms that you're on, but then you always want to advance yourself and change as well. So
I'm keeping an eye on it. And actually, Alex Rivet, who also went through 6 weeks of success, he did an incredible video with the Get Paid to Race book of him. It's probably worth people looking up because describing a TikTok seems so redundant, but it starts with him kind of as a normal guy, and then it kind of just beats through him, in his race suit and then in his race car, all with the book, like as a transformation of, how it helped him get from, student engineer to racing driver kind of thing.
Oh, awesome. I might have to just register myself on there and then, keep a one eye to see what it's about. So.
Yeah, I had to ration myself. I was losing a lot of time just watching people dance.
Well, I mean, it's not a bad way to spend a day, I guess. I guess.
No. I do have work to do.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking time out to watch your Porsche being done. It's number. Let's add the details on the tyre. It's number 268 in the book.
Amazing.
So you got your up, and then obviously I'm going to get these scanned. So as soon as they're scanned, hopefully I'll know soon when I can get over to my printers. Because I don't really want to send them in the post because I don't want to lose everything basically.
That's fair enough.
So 268. There is the Racing Mentor Porsche.
Oh, that's going to look so swish in my new office. That's beautiful.
There we are. So hopefully you can see that. And we'll...
Gosh.
There we are.
Oh, man. That is amazing.
So we'll get that...
Thank you so much for having me part of this.
Oh, it's all right. No, I felt, when I first started doing it, I didn't know how it was going to go, and now it's gone quite well. Getting you back in to do the videos has been cool. I wanted to find out more about your brand and how people can interact with you, and if people are interested in racing and wanting to get on that ladder, then you are definitely the person to speak to.
Yeah, and I'm always happy to talk to people. Like, you know, I do this because I love it and because I want to see people succeed. So if anyone is, you know, seeing this and thinking, you know, how do I get into racing, just drop me a DM here on Instagram and I'm happy to chat.